The following program is part of Black Squirrel Entertainment.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Food Flash. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a brand that has seemingly sprung out of nowhere and the craze surrounding them. And to round the episode off, I will be telling you all about the Aperol Spritz. Let's get cooking, y'all.
We're here to try 7 Brew. Me for the second time, Anthony for the first time. We're here because we're curious about why everyone's talking about it. There's a lot of hype behind 7 Brew, and it only started in 2017. So in the last 8 years, they've had amazing progress as a company.
Yes. They've grown to, I think, over 300 locations, something like that. I counted, there were 7 of them in the Northeast Ohio area. One of them being in Cuyahoga Falls, right near Kent, which is the one we're at right now. We're in the parking lot of oh, that's a Panera. We're in the parking lot of a
Panera right behind us.
We're in the parking lot of a Panera because there were no spots at the actual 7 Brew stand.
At almost 6 p.m., by the way. We're not shooting this in the morning when you would normally get something caffeinated. No. We're shooting this in the evening.
And and the drive-through line was pretty backed up, so
we've already got something to think about here.
Yes.
You know, it started in Rogers, Arkansas.
Which
is
supposedly a small town of about 70,000. Debatable.
And they only had 7 original coffees, but now they have such a huge, expansive menu. There's coffee, there's tea, there are these little refresher type
things.
There's
smoothies, there's shakes, they've got energy drinks, dude, they've got everything.
You name it, they've got it in a cup.
In 2020, they got acquired by a company called Brew Culture to start expanding to an additional 9 locations, and then they got bought out again by Mr. Jimmy John himself, and that has been since rapidly expanding across the United States.
You know, that rapid expansion, it can only be because of such a big company, and a lot of the thing that is alluring to customers is that it's more of an experience. Mm-hmm. When you're driving through, you're talking to a person live, and there's always really great service, so it's very contagious.
Yes.
You want to go back, and you want to talk to these people, and you want to have that real...
7 Brew positions themselves very much so on the customer experience with short drive-through times. Their greeters will actually ask you about how your day has been going, supposedly before you take your order. You do not wait when you pull up to the window to get your stuff. We're gonna make sure that this is all tried and true. Mm-hmm. And they also do not offer any indoor seating, so you only can go through the drive-through. There are benches, I believe, outside. I don't know if the Cuyahoga Falls one has benches or not.
We can take a look.
I'll take a look, but
the one location that I went to was not this one, and there weren't benches that I could see.
Okay.
It was also early in the morning when I went, so maybe I was just too tired to pay attention.
And kind of like what Sophia mentioned just a second ago is that, you know, because they offer them more than just coffee, there's a lot that anybody can go for. Which is great for me because I'm not personally I'm not a coffee person.
I'm not a coffee person either. I'm an iced chai addict. I'm not afraid to admit it. And this recipe of chai is something that I've really enjoyed in the one time that I've had it. And I've thought about it and just been like, do I make the 20-minute drive out to Cuyahoga Falls just for one specific iced chai? And today we're doing that.
Go ahead and get in line and get our stuff. We're not going to record it because we can't film a moving car, but we will take note of our experience and then report back after we get our stuff.
See you in a little bit.
Yep.
We're back.
Got our drinks.
Took about 15 minutes-ish.
Somewhere around that number.
We got backed up at a certain point, but once we were taken care of, the wait was pretty short, I will say.
Yeah.
What did you get, Anthony?
So I got what they call their 7 Fizz. It's essentially sparkling water. And I got watermelon syrup as my flavor. So it's kind of like their equivalent of a Starbucks refresher almost.
Kind of.
You can also get whipped cream or regular cream in it. I did not do that.
No, that's kind of like the Utah whatever.
Yeah. Mormon soda stuff.
Mormon soda stuff. Yeah.
We ain't Mormons around here.
We're not. I fear I'm a Catholic. I got him. This is a medium.
Oh yeah, here's this one.
This is a medium iced chai.
It's pretty big.
With oat milk and brown sugar syrup, which is what I usually get at Starbucks. So I wanted to do a 1-to-1 comparison of what was going to be happening here.
And the total for about the 2 of these was
$9.50.
$9.50, something like that. Yeah.
Which is impressive.
Impressive.
Let's try them. Think them.
And sink them.
This is good. It's obviously different than like a Starbucks or a Dunkin', and I think that's a good thing. With my 1-to-1 comparison, it's definitely good enough that I'm like, okay, I could get this on an off day if I really wanted to, especially knowing that it's a lot more affordable.
And also for my drink specifically, if you're somebody who really doesn't like sparkling water because it's too carbonated, this is not that carbonated. It's pretty.
There's some bubbles in there, but not a lot.
No, I don't really taste the carbonation a whole lot. So, I mean, yeah, I would recommend this. And honestly, I'd recommend the place.
For the prices that you're getting at, from what we can assume, this is definitely a good alternative to Starbucks or Dunkin'. It's more cost effective. Yeah. And I will say the service was not as friendly as advertised.
Yes.
However, they are busy, so that is something that we'll obviously take into account.
Yes, and I think that's the only, I would say, downside to this place, at least from our one-off experience that we've had so far, is that it was a bit slow. But honestly, I feel like any place you're gonna go is probably gonna be a bit on the slower end.
If it's this popular, this is to be expected.
Yeah. And we think the reason why that this place is popular is just because of the great service and the affordability and just general buzz around it.
It's something new. Starbucks and Dunkin' have been around for so long that it's hard to like beat that standard, and 7 Brew has done that in the way that they're serving people and in the way that they're presenting their products, which I think is really interesting, that something like this has been able to develop the staying power to fight against Starbucks or Dunkin'. Hello?
If you happen to live near around a 7 Brew, I'd recommend going, if you have not gone.
It's definitely worth a try. I think there's something for everybody, and there's always, you're not going to spend too much money if you don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see what's next.
On to, yeah. just cut it.
We're done.
Got it.
That's enough. Inside this glass, I have one of the greatest cocktails ever created. It's called an Aperol Spritz, and I'm going to tell you all about it, as well as show you how to make it. The idea of an Aperol Spritz began in the 1800s when, in portions of the Veneto region of northern Italy, the Austro-Hungarian Empire was currently in control. Visitors and soldiers from other parts of the empire were said to have found Italian wines too strong, and then lightened them with a splash, or a spritz in German, of water. While wine has been the starting point for spritzes, the recipe slowly evolved, substituting flat water for the lift of bubbly soda water, and then progressively supplementing it with liqueurs and other wines. This is where Aperol comes in the early 1900s. Brothers Luigi and Silvio Barbieri inherited their father's liquor company in 1912, and after 7 years of experimentation, they debuted this bold, beautiful orange-colored drink called Aperol. The word Aperol itself was inspired by the French word for aperitif, apéro, and that recipe is still in use today and is still a secret after over 100 years of operation. We do know that it does include bitter and sweet oranges in the drink as well as rhubarb, in addition to oranges in the liqueur itself, and is common for an orange slice to be used as a garnish. In the 1950s, Italy became enamored with the Aperol Spritz. It became this kind of aperitivo, a drink that helped you get refreshed from a long day and prepare your appetite for an evening ahead. Oftentimes in Venice, you would see Aperol Spritz bars where you just drink Aperol Spritzes and have appetizers in order to prepare yourselves for a real dinner. During my study abroad experience, the Aperol Spritz and I were very close. It was one of the very first alcoholic drinks I ever tried, in addition to a cocktail of choice. When I visited Venice, I did get to see an Aperol Spritz bar, and even talked with the waiter in Italian, finding out that my family and his were from the same region in Italy, therefore giving us a round of appetizers for free. The spirit and energy behind an Aperol Spritz kind of gives the same idea of Italian culture. It allows you to be social with your dining experience and allows you to take time to prepare yourselves for a full meal. Now enough talking about the Aperol Spritz. It's time to show you how to make it. Quick disclaimer, I am over the age of 21 and do not condone the use of underage drinking. Please drink responsibly. Now we're in my kitchen, and I'm going to show you exactly how to make an Aperol Spritz. First thing you should do is have a cup with ice ready, because Aperol Spritzes are best served over ice. Now the method that they like to use is a 3-2-1 type method. So what they recommend on all recipes that I've experienced is a splash of soda water, so not a whole lot, just like, Just like the tiniest little splash. There you go. That feels good enough. Then you open up your bottle of Prosecco. Now this is easier said than done, but I have proven pretty good at opening bottles of Prosecco. So what you gotta do is you gotta twist it a little bit to get it loose. And then, hold on. Almost there. Oh! There you go. Oh! It's bubbling. Just a little bit, not too much. And that's how you keep a bottle of Prosecco from splashing. Now from here, you take your Prosecco and you do double of what you did with the soda water. And last, and definitely most importantly, your Aperol. The coloring that they recommend, you can see it on the bottle right here. You don't want it to be too yellow, but you also don't want it to be too orange. You want it to kind of like be right in the middle, right there, in that little orangey spot. So not fully orange like the bottle itself, but close to it. Like this is pretty solid. But that's not enough for a full drink. So then you adjust as necessary. Dilute it a little bit with the Prosecco. Add a hint more Aperol. And voila! You have a perfectly prepared Aperol Spritz in the United States. Typically, if you were to get this at a restaurant, you would have an orange slice to garnish, but I do not have those on me. So, cheers! Oh yeah.
Well, those videos were a sweet treat. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Food Flash BSE. We'll keep cooking until the next time on Food Flash.